Modern Savvy CPA, and this is my third video on money habits, money mastering, things that you need to be mastering before the age of 30. Because we always have that saying, I wish I knew this when I was younger. So I'm telling you all the things that you should know and you are supposed to be learning now that you are young. So here we go. Number 14 is we're going to continue with, understanding, making sure that you're not making consolidated mistakes. So it's fun to have excessive stuff and not guaranteed things and things like that. But you want to make sure that you are watching what you're doing when it comes to your debt. Understanding what you're doing when it comes to, before you do something. Think about your situation before you do something. Don't do something now and say, I'm going to worry about it later. Think about it before you do. Mistakes happen, things happen, we learn from them. But you don't want to pay higher fees today for something for it to cost that's supposed to cost less later. So, you automatically want to consolidate, you're consolidating automatically certain things that you're doing. Don't be multiple things that, don't have multiple situations and waste your money. You want to make sure that you're not leaving yourself exposed to those type of things. Number 13 is investing in yourself. Upskilling is an investment in your future, your earning power, your promotion. I always tell my kids, you're living, you're learning. You need to be investing in yourself when you're younger to make sure that you are in high demand. It's easier to upskill when you're young, that with fewer demands on your time, because you have no kids, you're working less, your responsibility is less. When you have kids, you have home, you have all these other responsibilities, it's harder to get more skills and improve your skills. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it then. I'm just saying that when you're younger, if before the age of 30, if you're doing more of your upskills then you have a good foundation going forward. Avoid having too much debt. Avoid having runaway debt. Make sure that, you are paying your credit card bill when you get paid. You don't want to have late fees. You don't want to pay credit card interest is usury, in my opinion, unless you have some really good promotion because you have good credit and you're doing a 0% or a 2% or a 3%. You do not want to pay credit card interest. Interest is the cost of debt. Credit card debt especially, you do not want to pay that. You want to monitor your spending. I check my credit card bill every morning, and I pay my credit card bill maybe 3 times a month. Because when I get paid, I pay my credit card. So, because I don't want to be tempted to overspend. I always want to be checking it. So I heard this saying that I want to talk to you guys about. Number 12. It says, stay STD safe. So now when I first heard it, I'm like, sexually transmitted diseases? No. So I heard this and I thought I should bring it in here. It says, you don't want to be liable for your partner's debts as well as your own. So it's called STD in this situation is called sexually transmitted debts. So, you don't want to be liable for your partner's debts. No STDs for you with your partner. You want, living together and sharing finances. You both want to be aware of what you're spending. I mean, my next series of videos is going to have what happens when you have babies and you get married and how you bond your finances and the issues that come about with that and how we can combat some of those problems. So look out for that series that's going to be coming up. But you definitely do not, and I'm going to talk more about sexually transmitted debt at that point. But I just want to make sure that you understand, when you have joint accounts, you are jointly responsible. The debt goes on both of your stuff, even though there's one main person that's doing it. Number 10 is don't sacrifice for love. Financial independence is crucial in fighting domestic violence. For instance, STD, which is 0.11. You want to, you don't want to be stuck with all these debt. You hear about people getting divorces or separating and things like that, and they're stuck with all these debt. The divorce is costing them a lot. So you want to make sure, if you can, keep finances separate whenever possible, as much as you can. Contribute to a joint account when you're sharing living expenses, but making sure you're understanding what's happening within your own finances. Both of you should be financially savvy and understand smart money habits. Number 9 is make sure that you are thinking about taxes. Don't forget deductions. Make sure you're looking at unclaimed benefits. Don't overlook, depreciation if you have rental property or you have your own business. That is the number one thing that is overlooked in all of first world countries when it comes to taxes, especially for people who are doing them taxes themselves. So, or don't have a qualified person that's preparing their taxes. You want to be able to get everything that you're fully entitled to. You don't want to leave any money on the table when it comes to your taxes. I believe that we should pay our taxes, but I don't believe we should just write a blank check to the IRS. That's why I'm a tax accountant. I believe we should use the laws to make sure that we're following what we need to do there. Number 8, start investing now. You've heard me say this through all of my videos. You want to make sure that you're investing now. Start investing now. All of your money should be at the rate of inflation or above. If it's not somewhere in a pot where it's at the rate of inflation or above, earmarked for something. It's your vacation pot, your housing pot, your car pot, your retirement pot, your red bottom shoes pot. I don't care which pot it is. It should be at the rate of inflation or above. So you shouldn't have all this in a checking account. You need to have these things because you're losing if it's just sitting there, because inflation is high right now. So 80 cents, a dollar today is 80 cents tomorrow. So you want to make sure you're doing that. Get into properties. I'm a big proponent of real estate. I believe when you're paying rent, you're paying someone else's mortgage. So I just had this conversation with a client, a young girl that's not a client, it's someone that I'm helping out. And we were talking about real estate, and we were talking about stability, and we talked about it for now and for the future. We talk about people who want to wait to put their money in their dream house. So they start off with their dream house today costing $500,000. So they're like, okay, I want that dream house. I want everything that I want. So I'm going to wait 10 years. In 10 years, that dream house is going to cost $2 million. So are you ever going to get to that point? You need to start with your starter house. You need to start with your starter property. You wanna be able to do that. Use savings. Use the bank of mom and dad if you need to. Do things with partnerships with your siblings to start off with property. Invest. Investment properties are cheaper in some places than others, but you start now. Even when real estate in America was down, my house that I paid $324 at that time went down to like $260. Did I lose? No, because I planned properly. My mortgage was the same. It was a 30-year mortgage. I was good with that. I refinanced it to a lower interest rate mortgage, and I ride it out. I'm living in my house. Where am I going to go? Money was going to principal. I didn't have an interest-only mortgage. So I planned properly. I did the right thing. I didn't, look for the easy way out or the fast money. And eventually I was able to sell that house for $650. So paying down mortgage within 10 years. So on top of the savings that I was paying on my principal, the house appreciated more than double what it was supposed to be. So, consider your investment property, consider, those type of things. Number 6 is, insurance favors youth. What does that mean? That means that when you're younger, insurance is a lot cheaper. I'll give you an example. My husband is a diabetic. He became a diabetic in his 30s. His insurance costs 5 times as much as my insurance. If he had gotten his policies when he was younger, before he was diabetic, it would have been so much cheaper. So if you can, get your life insurance policy earlier, Make sure, number 5, we're going to say set and forget. Set up don't neglect those things. Poor setup of on the onset earning capacity over your working life. Make sure that you're looking at all of that. Make sure that you're tweaking your investments as you go along. Don't just automatically put it and you don't know what's happening. Review, tweak, review, improve performance. Understand where you're losing. Understand when you're getting older, you need to move into safer things. Have a savings and investment plan. Have a savings and investment plan. We've talked about this a little bit before. Have the plan, financial goals, and the path to achieving them. Having your financial goal pots, I call them, pots at the end of the rainbow, and your plan to achieving them. Say it again. Have your financial goals and the path to achieving them. The plan will grow with you. Keep working at it. It changes. It keeps going. I always say, I always have a plan. No matter what I'm doing, I have a plan. I can guarantee you my plan is not going to work out exactly the way I want it, but I have my plan. And I'm also planning that it's not going to work out the same way, but it's okay. I'm tweaking my plan as I go along, and I understand that, I'm on that road where the road varies, and it winds, and it's a journey. It's a road. It's going to wind. It's going to be mountains. It's going to be situations, but you have to have a plan. Maintain your emergency fund all the time. This is redundant. There's accidents, illness, there's relationship breakdowns, there's natural disasters. These are all part of life. COVID was one of the biggest things that we couldn't even believe it was happening. Without having the readiness of cash, and when I mean cash in a money market that's earning interest, not cash under your mattress or your pillow. Number 2 is get good advice. Oh my gosh, get good advice. Vet the people you're getting advice from. Make sure that they are influencers, financial influencers that are people who are vetted, that they're qualified. Do not listen to people that's telling you 3 hacks to do this and 3 hacks to do that. These are all things that's either half of the story, 1/10 of the story, or not true. Make sure that the person you're listening to is vetted. Make sure they're qualified to be giving you this information. Make sure that they're not trying to sell you something. Make sure that they are, whatever they're vetting, whatever they're talking to you about, they know what they're talking about. You want to make sure that they're not benefiting themselves. One of the biggest issues that I've seen is everybody that's giving financial advice, tax advice, all these different things, they are trying to either sell you life insurance, whatever it is that they want to give you. Make sure that they're qualified to give you the advice and they're not trying to sway you towards something else. Good advice should be tailored to you and come from qualified advisors and accountants and CPAs and CFPs. These are all things that, you need to get advice from. I can tell you how I want you should be investing. I can tell you how you should be saving your money, but I'm not going to tell you which stock to buy, which house to buy, which credit card to use, because those are all things that's going to sway the person that's trying to teach you something on what they're supposed to be teaching. And the number 1 thing that we should be talking about is setting good, smart money habits now. Good money habits now will work through your life. The longer they're in place, the easier they will be to maintain. Trust me. At 48 years old, my habits that I started with and that I learned from and the mistakes that I moved forward and tweaked and whatever is what is showing up in my life today, showing up in my children's life, showing up in my finances. It helps. It's never too late to start, but the earlier you start, the better it is for you. Make sure that you are establishing good money habits and you come out each year, test yourself, test your progress, look at what you're doing, routinely tweaking your habits, routinely tweaking all this advice that we've talked about in these 3 videos and reviewing them. And keep watching me for the advice, because I'm not selling you anything. I'm just trying to get you to live the dream of the first world. This is Sherron, the Modern Savvy CPA, with another set of habits that we should be learning. We will continue next week with more smart money habits for better money choices. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, feel free to give me a follow to get updated on new and upcoming episodes, and listen in every Tuesday and Thursday, where I teach you smart money habits so you can make better money choices with a financial goal focus.